Hello, this is Vivek. In previous section videos, we have seen binding input values. In this video, we are going to see binding output values. Here I am going to use this code from index.php file. I am copying this code and I will create a new file. I'm pasting it here and I will save this file as bind output val.php. And instead of query method, I am going to use prepare and execute methods. Same like this one, binding input values. You can bind output values only with prepared statements. Here I am commenting this line, $result equals to $db prepare SQL $SQL. Next one is execute. We should execute this prepared statement. $result execute. After execute statements, we can bind the output values using bind column method. In previous section videos, we have binded input values using bind val and bind param. Here we will bind output values with bind column method, $result bind column. Then the first one is the column name in our table, and the next one is the variable. You can use similar names as table names or whatever you want. Here I am using $fname and the column name is first name. I am copying this line of code and here I will update with the last name, that's the column name, and our variable is lname, and I will update these variables inside our echo statement on line number 23, $fname, and instead of $row2, $lname. It's a variable for our last name. I'll load this in a browser. Before that, instead of using for each loop, I'll update it with a while loop. I'll copy from a fetch.php file. Statement on line number 16. And we don't need this fetch styles. I'll just remove it. PDO fetch associative and closing while loop. Uncommented this line. And that's it. I'll load this file in browser so that we can see the results. Bind output val.php. These are the results with the first name and last name. We are getting all these records from our database. And we have successfully done the binding output values. Here I am adding a few more column names, so that is ID. Here I am copying this code and pasting it here. I am updating with the ID. Instead of using column names, you can use column numbers also. I will see that how we can use it. After reloading this page, here you can see IDs. Here I will bind a few more output values. For email, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. First one is ID, second one is first name, third one is last name, and email is fourth. So you can use 4, number 4 for email, bind column, and email, $email. Here I am copying this code and pasting it here, $email. If I reload this page, you should see it's a last name we are getting instead of email. I think we made a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I have used 3 instead of 4. That's why we are getting a last name instead of email. If I reload, we should see email. Here is an email, and you can use column names or column numbers while binding output values. It's always recommended to use column names instead. Even if you change the column names in your SQL queries, it won't affect. If you use the numbers, it will affect the output. You should always check the numbers associated with the column names. It's always recommended to use the column names instead of column numbers.